The skies above Windsor Castle thunder with the unmistakable sound of jet engines as the Royal Air Force's red arrows streak across the horizon. Their smoke trails, red, white and blue, carve through the grey afternoon sky. A spectacular finale to a military beating retreat ceremony staged for a visiting American president. The cameras capture the iconic aerobatic team in perfect formation, a moment that blends British tradition with global politics. This is no ordinary diplomatic visit. It is Donald Trump's second official state visit to the United Kingdom, a rare distinction in modern times. Few leaders, even close allies of Britain, have ever been granted such repeated honours. For the Trump presidency, this day represents not only ceremony, but also validation. For Britain, it is an opportunity to showcase its historic pageantry while underscoring the resilience of what has long been called the special relationship. The beating retreat ceremony, steeped in centuries of military tradition, began as a signal to troops to withdraw at nightfall. Today, it is a symbol of continuity, a ritual that links past and present. At Windsor Castle, its grandeur is magnified by the presence of the British monarch, King Charles III, and the American president. The flyover of the red arrows at its conclusion is not merely a flourish of colour. It is a deliberate statement of power, unity, and shared heritage. Yet, as the roar of the jets fades, the underlying narrative is far more complex. Trump's return to Windsor is taking place against a backdrop of division, both in Britain and in the United States. Outside the ceremonial walls, thousands of protesters gather in London and beyond, denouncing what they describe as the normalisation of a leader they view as deeply controversial. For supporters, however, these images demonstrate strength, stability, and an affirmation of alliances that have weathered wars and crises. The symbolism of the red arrow's flyover cannot be overlooked. Red, white and blue, the shared colours of two national flags, merge across the sky, a visual representation of Anglo-American unity. For military planners and diplomats, it is also a subtle projection of strength directed outward, a reminder to adversaries from Moscow to Beijing that the Western alliance is alive, visible and celebrated in public spectacle. Trump's presence here is not without precedent, but is certainly without parallel. His first state visit in 2019 was marked by pomp, protests and political debate. To return for a second visit in 2025, welcomed again with full royal ceremony, sets him apart in Britain's diplomatic history. Even figures like Ronald Reagan or Barack Obama, who shared close ties with Britain, were never invited twice in such formal capacity. The message, therefore, is clear. Britain is willing to embrace Trump publicly, despite the controversies he stirs. For Prime Minister Keir Starmer, the stakes are delicate. Britain is navigating a post-Brexit world, balancing trade negotiations, security commitments, and its role in Europe. Welcoming Trump in such grandeur is both an opportunity and a risk. On one hand, it strengthens the economic and military bond with Washington. On the other, it risks alienating segments of British society and Europe that remain sceptical of Trump's leadership style. At Windsor, however, those tensions are set aside for spectacle. The precision of the red arrows captured becomes the day's defining image, an aerial choreography symbolising discipline, loyalty and unity. Their roar echoes off the ancient stones of Windsor Castle, a fortress that has stood through centuries of wars and royal dynasties. It is a sound that links history to the present, reminding viewers that pageantry is never just about display. It is about message and meaning. But what does this message convey? To Trump's supporters, it is proof that he remains a respected global figure, welcomed with honours that few leaders enjoy. To his critics, it is a troubling endorsement of a man they argue undermines democratic norms. The truth lies somewhere between symbolism and substance. The images from Windsor will be replayed across news networks, dissected by commentators, and remembered by historians as another chapter in a turbulent era. As the jets disappear beyond the horizon, Windsor falls back into silence. The spectacle is over, but the political and diplomatic consequences of this visit are only beginning. For 3 days, Trump will engage in talks, ceremonies and state dinners. The flyover is just the opening act of a visit that could redefine the contours of the transatlantic alliance. And so, on September 17th, 2025, The skies above Windsor carried both smoke and symbolism. The red arrows painted their tribute in colour. The monarchy offered its grandeur, and Britain placed itself once again on the global stage. Whether this visit strengthens old bonds or fuels new divisions, one thing is certain. History will remember the day the red arrows soared above Windsor Castle to honour a president on his unprecedented second state visit.